Real quick, I just want to make a very quick disclaimer. Everything made in this video was made over a month ago. Basically, without getting too far into it, my free trial ended on Camtasia, so my ability to make videos had dwindled, but then I just went ahead and got a new one, and now we're making videos again. So yeah, anyways, without further ado, enjoy. Hey friends, this is Wired Guitars. So it's come to my attention that the Jungle Terrorblade video that I posted about a few months back has gotten extreme traffic since I posted it. And as a result, as you can imagine, I myself have gotten a lot of traffic over the past few months. Which, I mean, some of it has been pretty good, but a lot of it has actually been quite negative, and that's what I want to address in this video today. Now, there have been some rumors and some myths spread around in the video itself that I kind of want to dispel. And there's actually also been a few mistruths, I'll call them, that I myself have put out that I kind of want to dispel so that we can clear the air before I really get into the meat and potatoes of this video. The first error that I will point out that is actually on my part is that the MMR, or the ranked, I guess, calibration of the game was at 4700 MMR. This was untrue on my part, as I did a little bit of further investigation, and the game that I had actually pulled up, I was playing with a friend at the time who I don't know if their MMR was ranked for party, but I suspect the MMR for the actual game to be somewhere around the 37 to 3800 bracket. So yeah, I do apologize for that inaccuracy. So if you came in here to downvote, you can go ahead and do that right now and just leave the video. Thank you very much. In fact, if I had to do an addendum to that video at all, I think it would be me mostly telling you that jungling Terrorblade was what I used to go from 3k to about 3.6k MMR approximately 2 years ago, early into the patch of 6.82. To be completely fair, this was before some substantial nerfs happened to the hero that really hit the ability for him to just kind of go to any lane that he wanted to and dominate significantly in whatever lane that should be. Ironically, back then I also played him jungle, but that's besides the point. What I'm really trying to get at is maybe I just have the nostalgia glasses of glory days preventing me from being able to see that jungling Terrorblade is just no longer something that you can do to consistently gain MMR with, and really it's something that I would only recommend, I suppose, that you should do in the maybe 3 to 4k bracket. With that being said though, let's just get one thing straight. I definitely do not think that Iron Talon is an item that needs any sort of buffs, and it is also an item that I would say Volvo needs to pay some very keen attention towards if they want to prevent Dota 2 from becoming a game where jungling dominates the meta. But I've already done a discussion about that, and I don't think it was well received, so I won't try to poison this video with too much about that. Actually, I wanted to discuss some of the other criticisms that I got on that video and try to hopefully help you guys see the light of how jungling Terrorblade isn't necessarily an absolutely trash thing to do, but maybe more so just something that you shouldn't be doing in the extremely high caliber of play. Firstly, let's talk about these fuckers. Alright, Bounty, Riki, and any other hero that can roam on you early game and try to kill you. A lot of you thought that I didn't get roamed on enough in that video, and I kind of agree. I would expect normally in a game maybe a little bit more harassment than just simply a pudge walking into my jungle trying to look for me when I'm already dead anyways, just wasting his time because I had suicided earlier. But the fact of the matter remains, ultimately speaking, you're doing this on your side of the jungle, and probably in optimal levels of play, they're going to be running a tri-lane that is going to be protecting their safe lane carry. This means that if their supports want to harass you, they will have to quite literally travel the entire map of worth of distance to come find you and kill you in your own jungle. And if a Bounty or a Riki are sitting on top of you whilst they're invisible and they're just trying to look for you to get low, then they're going to have a pretty tough time because you have 315 base movement speed, 7 base armor, and for the majority of the jungle you're using your illusions to tank and metamorphosis to kite camps, as well as Iron Talon, so you really shouldn't be dipping down too low. To be fair, you do usually try to initially suicide once around the 2 to 3 minute mark, but you don't necessarily have to do that every game, and you can give up the slight efficiency boost in order to play it safe and make sure that a bounty hunter doesn't get arbitrarily fed off of you giving him a kill in the early game. It should also be noted that if a bounty hunter or a Riki or any hero is next to you whilst you're killing neutrals and they're invisible, they're still leeching EXP from you, which means that you can tell when they're there, which means that you don't need to suicide aimlessly or even get low aimlessly when you're fighting neutrals because you know that the person is right next to you, likely looking for you to get low so they can kill you. Seriously, this was a very annoying criticism to read because it's as though all of you assume that playing this style also means that you literally lack a basic human brain and can't count basic numbers to know that, hey, I'm getting less EXP than normal, I wonder what's going on. To be fair, most of the junglers that you've probably played with and experienced have been probably getting roamed on and killed constantly constantly because they don't know the EXP that you should be receiving per camp, and they don't know, hey, I got less EXP than normal from this camp, I wonder if somebody's right on top of me. But that isn't my fault, and in most of my games, I make an effort to make sure that I don't get roamed on and feed too many kills in the early stages of the game. Furthermore, I guess I'm kind of calling for reform here, right? Anybody that's jungling, in my opinion, should know those kinds of things, and they should practice that kind of thing in custom games and the such like as much as possible to make sure that they don't get roamed on and feed early game kills. Like, I'm completely sure that I'm going to eat these words someday, but as of right now, I'm making a call out. If you are a jungler and you are getting roamed on by a bounty or a Riki and you're dying to them, you're probably making a mistake somewhere. Ultimately, you're Terrorblade. You use your illusions to tank hits and kite creeps with ranged attacks when Metamorphosis is up. You don't constantly feed wolves or use your face to tank, which are all problems that Jungle Lycan and Nature's Prophet have. And as such, bounty shouldn't scare you as much as he scares other junglers. Like, that is a fact, and I will stand by that to the death of me. Furthermore, a lot of you seem to think that lanes auto-lose when you pick Jungle Terrorblade, but let's stop right there. The enemy can't lane effectively and look for you in the jungle. They have to pick one or the other, and likely, if they're looking for you in the jungle and not getting the kills that they seek, because, like we talked about earlier, you're actually playing the jungle well, then they're just going to end up losing their lanes instead because they're spending so much time outside of them. But I understand that if they pick an aggro tri-lane and they try to fight your safe lane that's only in a duo situation because you did pick Jungle Terrorblade, then you can be causing a lot of stress on that lane. To which I argue that it probably wasn't the right pick. I concede that much, which is why I usually try to pick this style when I have like an off-lane Broodmother or somebody that can cause a lot of commotion up in the lane that is not adjacent to my own, because this style siphons space from your mid and your off laner a lot, and I don't deny that at all. Like, I completely consent to the idea that this is a style that you should really only be picking in certain situations, but don't act as though it has zero merit just because it's lost you a few games and you're very, very salty about that. In fact, I could use this video as a platform for me to discuss a little bit about my Dota 2 jungling and 6.86 video as well. Some of you guys seem to think that I seem to think that you should just always be picking junglers, and I do apologize if that communication was conveyed in my videos. I can't specifically cite any place in particular in my videos where I said that, but I do want to make it completely clear right now that if I did ever say that before, I am omitting that from the discussion as of right now. I do think that a jungler on your team in Dota 2 can be a viable thing to have, even if it's not Enchantress or Chen or Enigma, but only in the right circumstance, and you need to gauge that on an as-needed basis. I mean, that's why I get so fed up in the picking stage, and that's why you see me spamming so much first pick Earth Spirit all the time, because I've understood that unless you're playing Captain's Mode ranked, which pretty much nobody does anymore, and I get 6-minute queues whenever I queue for it, you're not going to get the team composition that you desire. And am I saying that I would ever draft a Jungle Terrorblade in Captain's Mode? Well, yeah, I would. In fact, I often theorycraft about compositions that would work really well with a Jungle Terrorblade or just a farming jungle in general. Does that make me a bad player or jungling a bad fit for the meta? I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure that they're working on it a little bit in the pro scene, and if something evolves, I'm sure that you guys will probably come back to this video and say that I was the Oracle Nerf 2016 confirmed. And if it doesn't, you guys will come back and say, well, Wired. Memes aside, however, I encourage you to look beyond the pro scene for advice on how to play your pubs. You're likely thousands of MMR away from playing with the pros, and you likely don't know anyone on your team, unlike the pros who've known, in some cases, their teammates for years. Which is actually why my channel exists. I'm trying to show you guys the crapshoot ideas that I can find that work at your level of play. I'm not trying to ruin anybody's pub experience whatsoever, and I've always encouraged people to practice styles extensively in custom games before they bring them into their pub games. Because I've also had that last pick random axe that goes to the jungle with 2 stout shields and tries to rush a Tranquil Boots before he loses them because the enemy had a ward over the rune camp that he's trying to take, and it's a remnant from an Ember Spirit that is all it takes for that guy to go over there and kill his Tranquil Boots, and then he says GG AFK in the fountain or some shit like that, right? Like, we've all had that guy, and I absolutely despise that guy just as much as you all do, which is why I've been trying and will continue to pump quality content that you guys can consume and enjoy and hopefully learn a little bit from, as well as gain a little bit of MMR from. Anyways, there's a lot more that I could say on this topic, but I'd rather just keep it brief, or I guess as brief as 10 minutes is, and say I really appreciate all the support that I've been getting, and in general, let's try to keep the discussion a little bit productive, guys, okay? Thank you very much. Have a good night. Also, I support the criticisms too. Just try to keep them productive.